Hello, it's that time again. Get up, get off the couch, and tackle your own to-do list. Welcome to another episode of Just Ask Bob Live. I am your host, Bob Assadourian. This show has two goals in mind, always. Number one, to get you, the viewer, up and off the couch to tackle your own to-do list, that never-ending and always growing to-do list of repairs and renovations around your own home. Now, for whatever reason, you can't tackle that to-do list. Maybe you don't have the time. Maybe you just don't want to. Maybe the ladder's not tall enough to reach the eaves troughs or the gutters to clean them out. In that case, goal number two is to teach you how to demystify the process of hiring a contractor. And as Bob always says, the right contractor for you and your home. So that's not any old contractor. Specifically, that's a licensed contractor. Up on screen now, you should be seeing Bob's license. So very important. Unlike reality television, today's host is actually licensed. Why does that matter? Credibility. It all falls to credibility. Now, I always break this down to the licensed contractors and then the crooked and overcharging ones. If the contractor's not licensed, he shouldn't be taking a penny for the job. Penny or more, I condemn him as being crooked and unlicensed and overcharging. That's very, very important. The license matters for a lot of reasons. The contractor will have to write a minimum 2-hour examination on the book right behind me, the Ontario Building Code, the Bible for Home Renovations, NU Builds in the province of Ontario. Upon passing the examination, minimum 70% mark, he or she will then have to prove minimum $2 million commercial liability insurance. And if they have employees, and even regardless of employees, as of 2013, the contracting company must have WSIB, Workplace Safety Insurance Board Coverage. So let me break it down for you now. In order to write the exam, City requires a police clearance. So just think about that now, you the viewer at home. You have a family, you have valuables. Depending on the job, that contractor may very well be working in your home from well before you leave for work in the morning to when you're back and still be at it once you're back home from work. You have valuables, it's important. Number two, commercial liability insurance. Something can break. He could be using a torch, soldering copper. Your home can be damaged. Your home can be burnt down. That needs to go through liability insurance. So it's important the contractor's insured. Final item, WSIB, Workplace Safety Insurance Board Coverage. In the absence of that, you, the homeowner, are liable and on the hook in the eyes of the law if that contractor or his employees are injured on your property. So again, that's very, very important. Each and every single Just Ask Bob Live episode is broken up into two parts. First part, after my intro obviously, is renovation footage from my own job sites. This renovation footage specifically caters to either the email, the tweet, or the call that I've received here in studio or back at my office. So we answer the viewer's question through the renovation footage. Due to COVID-19 this year, all renovation footage all season long is recorded for myself and my employees. So some of the footage may be shaky, some of it may not be, stellar tech. We're not professionals at shooting video footage. We are professionals at your home renovations. So keep that in mind that we really, really work hard in order to bring you answers, real answers from my real jobs, renovation job sites. Second half of the show, get your home rental questions ready. Ask Bob at cable14.com, tweet at Just Ask Bob, or pick up the phone. I'm old school. I always welcome a call. 905-645-3232. That's how we wrap the second half of the show. And we have a contest. Call in and win contest. Win a $50 Home Depot gift card. Call in, you could win. Full contest details at cable14.com/Bob contest. Essentially, hit Bob with your hardest home rental question. That's how easy it is, but it must be done on the phone. Now, we have on screen renovation, an email. This email is what's going to precipitate the renovation footage from one of my job sites. Hello, Bob. My wife and I love your show. We have seen garage doors in our neighborhood that look like barn doors with decorative black hardware. Bob, please give us some tips on how to paint our door and install the black decorative hardware. The door is in good condition. but it's green and it looks dated. This is from Dan and Irene from Hamilton. Thank you so much to the both of you. Now, very important item that I picked up from the email is the doors in good condition. Because if there's one thing I don't like is people throwing their money away. Everybody works hard for their money. There's no need to throw it away. So before doing too much to the door, because again, it costs you money. It's a DIY program. I'm assuming you're going to do it yourselves. Your time's still worth money, and so are the decorative hardware, the paint, the primer, whatever you happen to buy. But literally, you hit it on the nail on the head. If the door is solid and sturdy, you can do some maintenance, you can paint it, you can decorate it. The green will be gone, and it can be the nicest looking door on the block. If your budget doesn't allow to replace the door, absolutely nothing wrong with correcting it. Big shout out to our guest here, Frank the Garage Doorman, not only a phenomenal installer, but I'm honored to call him my good friend. Enjoy the rental footage, and don't forget, get your home rentals questions ready for the second half of the program. Enjoy the show. Welcome to our job site. We're here with my good friend Frank. Frank the Garage Doorman. Frank, tell the viewers all about your business and your company. This is your chance to shine.
Hey Bob, thank you for having me. I love your show.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to be on here.
Thank you.
Again, yes, I'm Frank Castillo from Garage Doorman. We service garage doors, we replace garage doors, garage door openers, basically anything to do with your garage door. We help people on maintenance, and I believe that's what we're here to do today.
Yes.
And just so a little bit about myself, we've been going strong 13 years. Thank you, it's a blessing. And we cover basically Halton, we cover Niagara, we cover the Hamilton area, and sometimes we go even beyond that.
You don't mind driving, do you?
Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But you know what? As long as we're out helping people, we're helping customers, and we're getting to know and really relate to new people, that's really what I love about what I do.
It's the driving that kills me.
Oh.
For those of you that know me, close by is fine for Bob. 15, 20 minutes each way for the commute. I don't know how you can do it.
Well, you know, we got a lot of customers in the Burlington, Oakville, Milton area, as well as Niagara, so we always like to keep our relationships good, happy, and strong, so we're happy to drive out this evening.
Excellent, excellent. How can people get a hold of you? What are the various ways the viewers can get a hold of you?
Absolutely. You can find us at garagedoorman.ca, also on Facebook and Twitter, and 905-536-5369.
I'm sure your business is like mine. Referrals matter. Referrals are so important, Frank. I can't stress that enough. A happy customer tells the world. An upset customer will equally do that, but it'll burn you.
It's such a good point, Bob. You know, I always tell people, I ask them, how did you get my phone number? And sometimes they say, well, I got it out of the phone book. I said, well, do your research. Look at the reviews. Look at who you're talking to. And they're already calling me. I'm telling them to do that.
Yes.
But you know what? I want people to be informed that there's information out there. If you don't have a friend that can give you that referral, which is always great to have, go on Google, Yelp, all these sites. Read the reviews. Read what other people are saying. Make a judgment on that. It always helps to do that.
Now, Frank, I've always wondered, the viewers may as well, what percentage approximately of your work would be repairs versus entire new doors or even openers? Just an idea.
Well, let me tell you, this year has been completely different because you got so many people staring at their ugly garage door because they're sitting at home.
They have the time.
Doing nothing, and so we've got a lot of replacements this year, but there's always repairs. Garage doors, they're a mechanical feature on your home. They require maintenance, and just like a vehicle, they break down and they need parts and repairs needed.
Makes sense. All right, Frank, take us through a tour of maintenance tips.
Bob, thank you so much. As we discussed before, a garage door is a mechanical item, okay? It's got moving parts, there's wear and tear, and like anything that's mechanical, it requires maintenance. Now, Bob, what I want to show you is a couple tips and a lot of questions that I get asked. First and foremost is, what do I use to lubricate the door? Now, many people think this is your guy, WD-40. WD-40 is not a lubricant. Okay, it's to be used at the time of whatever you're using with. So you don't want to use WD-40. You want to use something that says lubricant. Right now we got the Crown penetrating lubricant. You can also use white lithium grease, Jigaloo, basically anything that says lubricant found in the WD-40 section. Now, where do we lubricate is also very important. And there's really two kind of key places you want to do it. You want to go on the track, spray both sides, and then you want to spray the rollers. Now some rollers have bushings and some rollers have bearings. More importantly, you lubricate the ones with the bearings because there are bearings in them. So you want to close your door up and then make sure that every one of those rollers gets sprayed down as well as the track. Also, most importantly, is the big coil above the door. Now, we're going to spray this right now, and that's almost more important to do than the rollers. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, the spring will break before the rollers do. Springs have usually a lifetime of about 8 to 10 years, although they can go longer or shorter. It'll be depending on the usage of the door.
Frank, I must say that's an amazing tip. Bob himself, I'm guilty of this. First thing I grab is the WD-40. Always.
Do that. And your WD-40 basically evaporates after 24 to 48 hours, so it doesn't stick around, whereas a lubricant does stick around.
Excellent.
Now, as far as frequency, I always tell people, look, if you do it twice a year, you're good. More is always better, but twice a year you're covered. So always look at the changing of the seasons. Pick either like spring and then winter, or summer and fall, so on and so forth, and that'll kind of tell you, okay, I gotta lubricate the door, right? So you want to do it minimum 2 times a year.
Excellent.
Now, as far as small maintenance things, you always want to check what's called your safety photo eye sensors, or bottom sensors. They're usually found at the bottom of the track, and there's one on each side. Now these things got to be lined up fairly decent in order for the garage door to operate properly. Because if they're not lined up, you're gonna get a trouble call, or you're gonna need a service call in order for the garage door to close. Now again, we're gonna go over it with you right now. You want to make sure that both sensors are lit up. Solid lights. Sometimes one of the lights has a flicker on it, and that's no good. Your door will not close if one of the lights is flickering. And one of the lights may be flickering because they're not lined up right. So, if you notice one of your lights on your sensors flickering, then you want to adjust it until you get both solid lights, and then your garage door will run perfectly. Now, this is the point where me and Bob talked about last year. You got to be careful with a lot of companies out there that are going around ripping people off. And one of the main things they do is whenever people have misaligned sensors, they try to sell them garage door openers, circuit boards, maybe new sensors, when all the while you just needed them to be lined up right in order for the door to work. So again, look at the reviews of companies, look at their history, because there's a lot of shysters out there. Even CVC Marketplace did a story on this a few years back where they showcased this very action being done. Now, I always tell people, sometimes even over the phone, if I hear the symptoms, I tell them, look at your sensors, see if they're lined up, and that might save you a little bit of money. I'm happy to do that for them because it's a simple, easy way to look at why the garage door is not closing. And another point I want to make, it only affects the closing cycle on the garage door. So the garage door will always open with a misaligned sensor, but will not close, and you'll have to hold the button on the next to your man door there. You'll have to hold it down in order to close it. This is a clear indication that your sensors are misaligned.
So a lot of scam and fraud with the sensors, or even with the legitimacy, the honesty, the integrity of these contractors. Frank, when you and I first met, what fascinated me was, I believe it was an email you sent me to look into the marketplace investigation.
Sure.
Then when we met, we talked about it, and you opened my eyes to the fact that the crooked and overcharging contractor that I always call out in my trade of home improvements also obviously exists in your industry of garage door, whether it's maintenance or installations. This fascinates me.
Yes, we get a lot of different repairs, not only sensors, we get broken springs, broken cables, busted rollers, things of this effect. As a general guideline, I would say you never really need to spend more than $600, $700 for a repair. Even that is quite high, and that would be kind of your worst case scenario. For the usual, aside from driving into your door or something like that, which we do see. But for general repairs such as broken springs, cables, rollers, it's a red flag if somebody's going to charge you $700. So I always say, and I always discuss this with my customers, get a price up front from the contractor, whether it's on site, because it's usually better on site. Over the phone it's kind of hard to give a price, but once they arrive, get a price from them as to what they're looking at so that there's no surprises at the end. So that's a good tip to do. You always want to do that. And as Bob says, and we all know, always better to get it in writing.
So that's important. Thank you for that, Frank. About the sensors, though, let's backtrack for a moment.
Sure.
I really want the viewers to understand. You eloquently explained the sensors, but let's talk for a moment about young children and pets with respect to how the safety implements itself, young children or pets trying to get under the door while it's closing.
That's a great point, Bob. I'll tell you this, for newer openers, the pressure sensors are pretty good on them. I'll give you an example. I'm going to close this door right now. It's going to close on my shoulder. It's going to be a very light touch. And it's going to go back up.
You must have checked that door was operating correctly before doing that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now, obviously, let's say you got a bad shoulder, or for example, you don't want to test it on your shoulder, you place a 2x4 on the bottom of the floor, right where the door is going to hit, and the door should capture it and come back up.
Okay.
Now, if it doesn't, it may be an older unit, and the force is turned up too much. And in that situation, you could get pets or children being hurt by a garage door closing on. So you always want to do, as part of the maintenance, after you spray it down, grab a 2x4, put it on the floor, and make sure that door hits the 2x4 and comes back up, indicating that your pressure sensor is at a safe range.
Please do not do this at home. Ouch.
Now, right now we're going to talk about ways to change or upgrade your door. Now, sometimes it may not be in the budget, Bob, you know well. Sometimes maybe you just want to paint your door because it's not in the budget to have it replaced with a nice insulated door, or maybe your door is already insulated, but you want to change the look or the color of it. Now, I always suggest using oil or latex based paints. A lot of times now they got the primer built into it, so you wanna apply good 2 to 3 coats on the door, okay? And one of the biggest things that I get, Bob, is when people paint the door, the paint gets stuck on the weather seal.
I can see that. I can see that.
Because the sun heats it up. So we're gonna show you a trick where you're gonna grease the inside of these perimeter seals.
All
so
three
that,
sides.
Yeah, so that the paint can have a lubrication and it doesn't become like sandpaper on the door. Because what'll happen is you'll get a big bang when you first open the door in the morning, and people say, why is that happening? I said, well, the paint is catching on the seals and creating a sandpaper or Velcro-like friction, which you want to eliminate.
Right, that's brilliant. That has to be hands down one of the top tips this entire season, my friend.
Many people don't know to do this, and it's such a simple thing, but it'll save you a lot of time, a lot of trouble and headache. Now, my recommendation is usually, of course, the best thing to do if to upgrade your door is get yourself a good insulated door. Now, when we're talking insulation values, whether it's an R13 or R16, you want to have a steel back on the inside. So steel, for example, or sometimes fiberglass, insulation, and then steel on the inside, okay? And that'll be a fully insulated door. However, and we've spoken about this before, the insulation goes out the window, right out the window, if you don't have a proper perimeter seal. Which means what? Which means a good seal on the bottom with the bottom rubber, a good seal on the top with the top weather stripping, and on the sides. And once you're sealed up on all the perimeter, then the insulation can do its work and either hold the heat in.
Frank, let's demystify this a step further because homeowners get hung up on the R value. Let's talk R value versus weather strip, or how one affects the other, please.
Fantastic point, Bob, because I'll tell you, as far as R values, take for example an R13 door. Gets about a 93 to 94 heat retention rating. And an R16 goes up to a 96, 97% heat retention. So the difference isn't vast. They do the job right, okay? But without a proper perimeter seal, then all those heat retention values go right out the window. Basically, any draft kills your insulation. So rather than be worried about getting the highest insulation or getting the lowest insulation, make sure the perimeter seal is good, and that way the door itself can do the job.
Well, Frank, you also brought up now a moment ago, you mentioned two types of doors, metal, and you mentioned, I believe, fiberglass.
Yes?
There's also wood, correct?
There's wood. Wood, however, we really don't recommend because wood takes maintenance. Wood rots.
Let's do a top 3 pros and cons regarding steel, fiberglass, and wood. A couple of pros and cons for the folks at home.
Absolutely. Number one, first and foremost, and what you're going to find the most for the insulated doors and the highest quality value is your steel insulated door. Okay, they last the longest, they need the least maintenance. Fiberglass doesn't last as long as steel. Manufacturers usually only give you about a 3 to 4 year warranty on it. As opposed to the steel doors, they get a lifetime warranty. The wood doors, you want to stay away from. They don't do a good job as an insulator in between the sections, and as well, they start warping up the sides because there's tension on the sides, and it starts to become a kind of a smiley face. The only exception to that is when you have an insulated door with a wood overlay on top. That's different. That will hold the insulation, it'll last. However, just like with wood, usually it needs stain, and you do need to keep up on the staining every 2 to 3 years.
That's awesome, Frank. You've certainly schooled the viewers. You've schooled them on the pros, the cons, the options. Obviously, your top pick, which I believe would be the metal.
Absolutely, Bob. We don't give out fake news around here.
Love it, love it.
Stick with the real. Just like your viewers know, we're hands-on. You know, we like to educate the viewers because as a consumer, the best thing to do is educate yourself first before you pursue a project. And hopefully this helps out a little bit. Again, the best thing to do as far as raising the insulation of your garage door is get it replaced with an insulated door. If you can't do that, take a look at your perimeter seal. Bottom, top, sides. This is the foremost #1 thing you need to worry about as far as keeping that heat in and or keeping the coolness out in the summer.
Frank, I absolutely love it because you hit the nail on the head with the aspect of education. What Bob always says is my favorite customer is an educated consumer. Somebody that there's very little chance I'll have issues with. Once they're educated and empowered, I call them their own judge, jury, and executioner. They have the facts, they make the decision. Nothing's better than a level playing field. Contractor and homeowner both knowing the facts. It's a level playing field. It's a perfect relationship so that when the job's done, all they can do is speak volumes about you and get you reference after reference after reference.
Hey Bob, you know what? I give a shout out to all the honest contractors out there that are educating their consumers and their customers, because this is what we need more of. We need people to be open and honest about what the products are like and what the project is.
Not in your budget to replace the entire door? No problem. From this to this.
Bob, check out this door decoration that we just did. Now, you got straps on the side, you got handles in the middle, but check this out. You want DIY? How about this? These are magnetic. They got neodymium magnets. These are the strong magnets.
Neodymium, what the hell's that?
Neodymium. These are the strong magnets that you can get. They're very, very tough. They don't move easy.
Okay, so kids couldn't really disturb them.
Sometimes they can't, but we got a little tip for that. Now, if you have little kids, sometimes I tell them, it looks so beautiful, but if you tell the kids they're magnetic, guess what? They're gonna touch them, right? So they may bang them around a little bit, and they may get out of alignment. So what we like to do, and what we offer, is you simply drill a small hole and put a couple black screws in it, and it'll be held in place forever, if that's the case. However, sometimes it's nice, and you just want maybe a change of season, and you can take them off if you want. Put them back on. I'm showcasing you a couple different styles.
Oh, I love those. That's a Bob's favorite. That's beautiful.
These are very nice, and they don't look like they're magnets.
No, not at all.
You can tell.
Not at all. I love that. Change them with the seasons. Look at that. Absolutely phenomenal.
And again, if you don't want the kids fooling around with them, just drill a small hole, 2 little black screws, and like we say, Bob's your uncle, or just ask Bob.
I love it. Frank, this is gorgeous. This is quite the transformation though. It gives it the authenticity of a barn look, like a barn door.
It's a small little detail that changes the whole look of the door and makes it look actually quite nice. That small little detail can just bring out and just make the door just really pop.
Wow.
So it's a great way to just change the look of your house on a budget. It's super affordable. And again, we want to thank Amar Garage Doors for donating these to us so we can showcase it on your show.
Well, Frank, if we can take a moment also to talk about your expertise. As a professional installer now, what is it, 13 years?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. You must have dealt with a variety of manufacturers.
Yes.
Let's tell us about the top pick for today's program, which obviously is Amar Garage Doors. Let's talk about your history with them.
Today's top pick is Amar Garage Doors. I've been working with them for years. They got great quality and most of all, they got fantastic warranty. Because as you know, Bob, it's got to be backed up by something strong.
Yes.
And I'm always a big fan of the Amar warranty. They do lifetime warranty on the sections. They got great products. They got great varieties of colors and styles. So thank you, Amar Garage Doors.
And thank you, Amar Garage Doors, from Bob as well. It's important, Frank, because as professionals, like I tell my customers, you know, in my line of business, for example, I have connections and ties to plumbing manufacturers for faucets and fixtures, flooring, different variety of things, and I do adapt and change depending on the manufacturer. So as a contractor, warranty matters. I want to use something that's made of quality and something that I can stand behind. And I'm sure it's the same in your industry as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Bob. You bring up a great point. If you can't stand behind your product, then don't be standing around it at all. You know?
I can't believe this transformation, though. Let me just pan right to left here. This is absolutely amazing.
Sometimes you can just take these off, Bob, and you can just have the handles in the center.
Oh, okay.
Just the handles in the middle.
Yeah, pull everything up. Just those off, and I'm just going to get a view here. So for those at home, that's the decorator kit with just the handles. Bob's favorite's got to be those knockers. Frank, let's do a quick switch with the knockers.
Sure thing, Bob.
They remind me of a castle.
Although this might take me all day.
Look at that. That is absolutely stunning.
Okay, now I'm just looking for Bob so we can thank our distributor together, Amar Garage Doors, and we're going to be right back. Bob? Bob? Anybody know where Bob is?
Now that Frank's found me, I'm here for the closing statements. Frank, what can I say? You are honestly a champ.
Thank you, man.
On behalf of the show, the producers, Cable 14, and for the viewers at home, we could not have pulled this off without Frank the Garage Doorman, and especially without Amar Garage Doors. This season, unlike last season, Frank's gonna be back. You've got Bob's word on that for episode number 2. We're on one of Frank's job sites. We're gonna do what we've never done on Just Ask Bob Live or even any Just Ask Bob half-hour show. We're gonna show you how to feature an entire garage door replacement. And again, we can't do that without Frank the Garage Doorman and without Amar Garage Doors. Stay tuned every Tuesday. Welcome back to Just Ask Bob Live. I hope you enjoyed the footage. Don't forget, we're in the second half of the program, so get your home rental questions ready. Email at justaskbob@cable14.com, tweet at justaskbob, or please pick up the phone and call. Bob's Old School, 905-645-3232. And don't forget, it's the call that enters you into the contest. We'll be right back after this break.
Tune into the front line, and this week we'll be chatting with Chief Cunliffe from Hamilton Fire Department about the mechanical division and what it takes to keep the fleet and equipment in tip-top shape. We'll also see some of the training required to be a firefighter. Watch Thursday at 8 p.m. on the front line.
And that is how you close a deal.
Well, it's getting late, huh? Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, I'll call you a cab. No need. I'm driving. Thanks again.
Drinking and driving should never be the elephant in the room. Share your responsible hosting tips at deflatetheelephant.com. A message from the LCBO.
Come watch Hammer 220, the show that focuses on the nerdy side of Hamilton. From video games to comic books to board game cafes to Magic the Gathering to Warhammer to cosplay to whatever else there is. I try to look at all the magical things Hamilton has to offer.
Please join us beginning at 10:30 a.m. on November the 11th as Hamilton Remembers brings you this year's service from Gore Park in downtown Hamilton. We take a moment to reflect on those who have served and those who continue to serve our great country, and we welcome you to join us for this special service starting at 10:30 in the morning on Remembrance Day.
Welcome back to Just Ask Bob Live. Oh, and I think we got Frank back. Our special guest, Frank the Garage Doorman.
Hey, Bob.
Welcome, Frank. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Very good, very good. Happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, buddy.
Oh, no, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Could not have done it without you. We're going to take some emails.
Yeah, I'm
Bob, I watched your show and heard you say that all landscaping, bushes, hedges, etc., should always be kept 1 or 2 feet away from my home's foundation. And yet, my professional landscaper practically walled in my entire home with new landscaping. This cost me thousands of dollars. Why would a professional landscaper do this to my home if it is not correct? And how much damage can this cause to my home's foundation and basement? This is Cindy from Hamilton. Cindy, thank you very much. A little bit of a complicated question there to try to break that up for you in the parts. Landscapers, unfortunately, I've never met one that has a master building repair license. Now, the way the city regulates it is, If your renovation's building code related or generally needs a permit, and even roofing, which does not require a permit, then in those cases, the contractor must have a master building repair license. Now, my statement on that, my personal take is, I don't care what the renovation is. If you're paying somebody money, they're coming to your home to work on it, that person should be licensed, because with the license come a lot of protections. So again, back to the landscaper, possibly he doesn't know building code, because to put that type of a wall of bushes or greenery up against the foundation, it's just not good at all. I believe it was last week or the week before we aired the program where on my job site, you could see the mold, the cracking in the blocks, the foundation. As to your second part of your question, how much damage can it cause? Well, the longer you leave it there, that close, the more damage it can cause. So I strongly recommend that you get it pulled away. Oh, we've got Frank back here. Frank, what do you think of that landscaping question?
Well, I mean, obviously, when you're going to have plants around your foundation, it's going to suck in a lot of moisture. It's also going to draw a lot of moisture. It's going to have a very wet earth, wet dirt, which can seep, right? What you want to have away from your foundation needs to be, the water needs to flow away from your foundation.
Excellent.
So when you have plants, they'll attract it towards the foundation. So
you
that's
sure
not a
you
good
don't
idea.
do rentals too besides the garage door work?
Oh, we're just fine doing garage doors, Bob. Thank you, buddy.
No, I know you know your stuff, so you're going to help me out on most of these questions. Let's take another one here, and then we'll both analyze it together. Bob, a contractor that has done great work for my family and friends insists on only being paid in cash. What should I do? This is from Sherry in Burlington. Sherry, great question. A couple of problems with the cash. Frank, you take it off on this. What kind of trouble could Sherry run into?
No, number one problem that people don't understand is that you still have to pay taxes on material that you have purchased. So you're essentially paying tax no matter what. So it's really a matter of negotiating and being clear on the examples and what the contract states before you go on. I mean, sometimes the guy will say cash, but that contractor will have to pay tax
exactly
on that job and that material.
Frank, do you have homeowners hitting you up for cash jobs? I mean, I get calls all the time. People want to pay me cash. They don't want a receipt. They want it under the table. Do you get hit up with that often?
It's okay to pay cash. Okay, a lot of when these times right now, COVID-19, they saying cash is dirty. Listen, cash is not dirty, but there's still tax involved in that cash.
Oh yeah, so I mean, I know what you're saying. Really, it's got to stay legitimate. It's got to stay legitimate.
The tax on the cash. So yeah, cash is okay, but the tax is still going to be on that cash.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter the method.
Well, Sherry, just to give you a couple more tips on that. Now, I believe this was control room. Can you bring that up again? Because I believe it was a recommendation. Was it a friend or coworker? Great work for my family and friends. Insist on only being paid in cash. Okay, that's fine. Now, I've said this before. A lot of times, somebody's done great work for your coworker, your family, friend, whoever, and then you hire them, and there's a dispute, there's an issue. So that's why I've coined the phrase of making sure it's the right contractor for you and your home. That's important. The contractor that was good to your friend or family member may not be good to you. Now, about the cash, again, we got to break this up a little bit. If it's cash, just because they don't have another method of paying, they don't have a checkbook, they don't have a credit card or debit, or the contractor doesn't take that, that's fine. But you got to make sure there's a contract and the contract is in writing. And like Frank said, the taxes are paid. That's fine. Now, if it's cash, meaning something nefarious going on under the table, no paperwork, this contractor's not going to put up a lawn sign, or he's got no stickers or identification on his van or truck, or he's unlicensed, that's the case where you have to worry. Because again, that's the case where if you get ripped off or taken advantage of, there's no fingerprint or footprint, so to speak, about this type of contractor. and you can get into trouble that way. And then it's also you're entangling yourself in something that's illegal. So please, you always have to be careful. Frank, let's take a moment to chat about the installation there. I love that black hardware. How much of your business is doing just hardware versus, again, repairs or full door installations?
Well, Bob, doors break all the time. So we often have a lot of repair calls, and we replace doors. We upgrade the insulation value of your home by getting a brand new insulated door, which is the best thing to do in order to kind of get the most out of that space. Really, especially in our Canadian winters, and let's face it, even the summers, where it'll be that much hotter if you don't have an insulated door. So our goal is just to beautify the neighborhood and help people make the best use of their garage space.
Frank, I love what you said during the footage there regarding, because of COVID this year, people have a lot more time on their hands, so they're staring at their doors and they're not happy with what they're seeing back in the reflection. Tell us a little bit about that as far as how business has changed this year because people have more time on their hands.
Bob, let me tell you, the biggest thing on most people's front of the house is the garage door. So when you upgrade and change your garage door, you change the whole look of the front of the house, because most of the time the garage door space takes up a lot of the curb appeal of the house. So when we change doors, we change the whole look of the house.
Everything
and that's what
changes.
I love about what I do.
Excellent. Frank, we got a caller on
Yes,
the
sir.
line. Let's listen to that, and then I'll let you take it. If it's garage door related, I'll take it if it's a rental. Okay. Oh, hello, Rob. How are you? Rob? Rob on the line? I can't hear you, Rob.
I'm on the line.
Oh, there you are. Thank you, Rob, for calling.
Oh,
What's
no
your
problem.
What's your question?
Love the show, Bob. I got a garage door question regarding the top panel of my garage. I had it replaced, but it's a different color than the rest because I got a little bit of a deal on it. So I want to know, how do I go about, matching the color to the rest of the doors? Is that something I can do myself, or do I have to have a professional come and do that? Or
We got the perfect professional with us here. Frank, want to take that for Rob?
Rob, that's an excellent question. Thank you so much. So that's something that you can do DIY. Use an oil paint paint. And when you put the garage door, it'll protect. And make sure, like you saw on the show, that you grease the seals on the inside so that the paint doesn't stick. Give it 3 coats.
Right. I have that problem,
and
actually. The paint's coming off.
That's great. Thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Frank, we're going to take a quick break. To the viewers at home, keep those questions coming in. We'll be right back.
Please join us beginning at 10:30 a.m. on November the 11th as Hamilton Remembers brings you this year's service from Gore Park in downtown Hamilton. We take a moment to reflect on those who have served and those who continue to serve our great country, and we welcome you to join us for this special service starting at 10:30 in the morning on Remembrance Day.
This is just the beginning. The end of hunger is a long way ahead, but because of you, we've been able to help tens of thousands during this COVID-19 pandemic. On behalf of those who live with food insecurity, right here in Toronto, thank you. The road to recovery will be especially difficult for those with insufficient incomes. We need your help to make sure everyone's right to food is realized. We need your help to end hunger in this city.
Hi, I am Larry Diani, and I'm the host of In the Hall, which brings you each week some personalities that guide our fair city. please tune in to find out what the latest issues are and be informed.
I am Audrey.
And I'm Leah.
Leah inspired me to play hockey. The War Amps has helped me by giving me my devices I need to play hockey.
Audrey has an amputation similar to mine. What does yours do?
The stick clicks in it.
My device from the War Amps allows me to shoot a lot better. It rotates like a wrist, which helps a lot with shooting and stick handling.
When I score a goal, I feel really happy.
Welcome back to Just Ask Bob Live. We have another email that just came in. We're going to take it now. Hello, Bob. Love your show. Can pressure-treated lumber be capped over with aluminum? This is from Tanya from Hamilton. Great question, Tanya. Love it. Modern pressure-treated lumber, I believe the stuff available in the last 5, maybe 10 years, can be capped with aluminum. The old stuff, and actually back to the modern now has got a brown tinge to it in the color. Now, the older stuff that was green, too many chemicals in it, that would actually corrode the aluminum. And I remember there were many of jobs back then. The way around it is we would use Tyvek. So Tyvek house wrap. You could even use tar paper. The point is you're putting a barrier on that 4x4 post or 2x4, and then you can put the aluminum capping on it. So that's very important. Old style, can't cap it. Modern pressure treated, brown tinged color to give you the telltale sign that it's modern. That can be capped with aluminum. Great question. Keep them coming. Oh, we have Fraser, I believe. Fraser on the line.
Yes. I would like to know if you can insulate a garage door and how do you do it?
Excellent question. We have the man here, the specialist, my good friend, Frank, the garage door man. Frank, take it away.
Thank you, dear. I appreciate the question. What you want to do is you want to look at the basic perimeter seal, the bottom, the top, and the sides. That's your number one thing. Once you've established a seal all around that, you'd best go out and just buy a little bit of insulation and tape it up. It helps a little bit, but the most that'll help is a perimeter seal around the top and the sides. That's really what will matter the most. Once you have that, if you were to add a little bit of foam insulation, for example, or styrofoam insulation, it helps minimally. But the most important thing is the perimeter seal. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. We have another caller on the line. I'm sorry, I could barely hear you.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, hello. Your question, please.
Yes, I'd like to know the difference in, yes.
The difference between?
Buying a garage door from, say, like a retailer, and then
like a big like a big box store?
Yeah, or like from, say, the garage doorman.
Okay, no, great question, because we have the garage doorman here. Frank, it's another one directly for you. Take it off. Take away with it.
Thank you very much for your question. That is an excellent question that we come across a lot. What will happen most of the time is the big box stores will offer a sale on doors. Now, most of these are very cheaply made doors that they offer, and they offer the bottom models. You can upgrade with them, but then you'll find yourself upcharged to where it's cheaper to get it from a garage door dealer to get a proper door that'll last you 12 to 15 years minimum. Now, if you want it just for a rental or something like that, they're good enough sections, but the quality isn't there. And they usually come with springs that are a do-it-yourself system, because dealers such as a big box stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, they can't sell you a proper torsion spring, which runs the garage doors. So they'll sell you these other kinds of systems that really are inadequate. After 3-4 years, they really start to act up, and you get a lot of problems with them. So the biggest difference is the torsion spring, extension spring that comes with it, is made for a DIY, which 90% of garage doors do not run on. And you want a properly torsion spring garage door. And that's the main difference, where you'll get a pretty much the same deal from a dealer as you will from a big box store if you want to buy something that lasts. I hope that helps.
Excellent, Frank. Frank, to jump in on that a bit, it's almost exactly the same in my industry. Big box stores, I mean, they cater to DIY, so they have the lowest quality at times of products. They do have, a little bit better and best. My flooring, for example, comes from select flooring dealers. They will give me the highest quality. Whereas the big box stores, especially for flooring, homeowners have to watch out. It's a little bit of the lowest quality. So, Frank, I can completely relate to you with that.
That's exactly it, Bob. They will give you something that's really just passable, and it's not quality. It's very breakable, and honestly, half the time it comes dented and damaged. Is one of the biggest
I've
things
seen that
when it comes to those garage doors. Place 2 to 3 sections, and you got to take it back to Home Depot, and then call the installer back. Becomes a real pain in the butt.
Excellent, excellent. We've got another email here, Frank. Hello, Bob. Is blue paper face drywall much better than the gray normal one? This is from Sheila in Hamilton. Thank you very much, Sheila. Now, the blue is slightly moisture resistant. Now, this depends where you're installing it. I would never install that inside a shower or above a bathtub. Many builders do. Many builders in Ontario do, because for some crazy reason, it meets the minimum code. That's not good to put tile on or even to pull cultured marble walls up. So let's break up the bathroom into 2 parts, wet area versus dry area. But even the dry area, it's going to get moisture in it from the shower and from the bathtub, even with an exhaust fan. So wet areas, you've got some choices. If you're pulling cultured marble up, and we did that on one of the past episodes here, the specific requirement is plywood. If you're putting ceramic tile in the wet area, above the tub or above the shower, you have a variety of products to use. From the best, you can use Schluter. One down from that, you can use Den Shield. Another one, Rhino board or concrete board. All of those are adequate, from good, better, and best. The absolute worst you can put in is blue or green moisture-resistant colored drywall, because that's not appropriate to hang tile on, and you definitely can't hang marble on it. Now, with that being said, the remainder of your bathroom is the dry area, but it's still in a moist environment. So I would not recommend using regular, normal gray drywall. I would recommend for that half of the bathroom, or whatever amount of it, to use the moisture-resistant drywall. You're going to get a much better job. And I hope Frank agrees with me. Frank, you worked on your own bathroom at all?
No, buddy, I would call you to do it. Are you kidding me?
Thank you.
You're the man.
Thank you. I'll bring you advice, though. I'll bring you advice and I'll motivate you. Know anything you need, Frank, I'm there for you. We got time for another quick one before break, an email. Hey, Bob, how much does it cost to change a hydro service? My service is like the one in your exterior wood episode. It is a wall mount and not through the roof. This is Tim from Hamilton. Yeah, Tim, I appreciate the question. Pricing is tricky, though. If you want to contact me at the end of the show, I'll be announcing my contact information, and I will put you in direct touch. There it is on the screen, justaskbob.com with a triple W. I'll guarantee you, you have my word. I'll put you in touch with my company's master electrical contractor. He's the man that can pull the license and has the license to pull the permits, to do the job bang on for you. And of course, he's the proper one to quote it. Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
COVID-19 continues to impact almost every aspect of our lives here in Hamilton. And on our next town hall, I'll be joined by Mayor Fred Eisenberger, Paul Johnson, and Dr. Elizabeth Richardson as we answer your questions about COVID-19 in the city of Hamilton. So please join me for our next live COVID-19 town hall on Thursday, November the 12th, beginning at 7 p.m. right here on Cable 14.
Online shopping. Soon it will be the way many of us shop for just about everything. And that's where we come in. Canada Post delivers more parcels to Canadians than anyone else. Canada Post, delivering the online world.
Please join us beginning at 10:30 a.m. on November the 11th as Hamilton Remembers brings you this year's service from Gore Park in downtown Hamilton. We take a moment to reflect on those who have served and those who continue to serve our great country, and we welcome you to join us for this special service starting at 10:30 in the morning on Remembrance Day.
Welcome back to Just Ask Bob Live. We have some footage now for next week's episode, the rental portion. All right, for the next step now, we're going to start shoveling and tamping. So we're going to show you the procedure. Josh, a couple of shovelfuls into the sonotube. Okay, Ethan, let him get at least 2 more in. Great job, Josh. You get a little bit leak there because we still got to do some backfill. As long as you don't get it all over the lawn. Okay, Josh, give us a minute now. What Ethan's doing now is he's tamping. Every couple of shovels, you want to make sure that you're tamping. Welcome back to Just Ask Bob Live. Frank, we had a call during the break. No? Okay. Frank, you there? Okay, we had a call during the break. We didn't get the name. It was a lady. She called. You were at her home. You did a job there. You helped her out. She wanted to say thank you. Thank you very much.
What's her name?
Oh, she didn't give a name. She was shy. Didn't give her name, but she wanted me to thank you on air.
Well,
that means you're doing great work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Frank, for being on. It's a wrap now. Thank you to the viewers.